Good morning. Welcome to Q&A day. You've got questions, and I don't know if I have any answers, but we'll go with it. The first thing I want to address is not so much a question, but an important thread that came up, and this is regarding editing your images versus not editing your images. So this was a really great lead-in just for the whole kind of premise of Selfie love and where it came from. So what I encourage is that you really take a look at your images before you edit them. There's great value in that. So from there, you might notice those judgments, those reactions, that information coming through to you that allows you to really see yourself in possibly a new way. And then from there, I love to use the apps more as a creative process afterwards. So then I can use them to tell a story, enhance, create more of what I want in my life using the apps. So do you have to edit your images? Absolutely not. This process might be more about really looking at yourself through a truer lens without all of the fancy apps. So whatever your process is with that is just perfect. And maybe you could try a little of both. So thank you so much for all of your comments and inquiries surrounding that. I think it was a perfect week one place to start. Cool. All right, questioner. How do you blend images? Yeah, we had a couple of those great blended images done this week. Those were people who took the Selfie Love course last time. Well done. And there's an app called Blender specifically for this. So what I love to do is I love to collect a handful of interesting backgrounds. So when I see something of interest out and about, I love brick walls, textures, patterns, I'll just start to throw them into a file on my phone called backgrounds. And then it's a great way to enhance your images or make something interesting when you just have that just random kind of point and shoot, and just to create a whole nother layer and get your point across or express whatever it is. So again, that's an app called Blender, and have fun playing with that, and we'll get a little bit more into that because it is kind of a fun, unique app. Questioner, kind of in the same ball game, is how do I get text onto my images? Again, there's an app for that, and it's called Fonto, and a Fonto with a PH, and I use it a lot. Figure out where your level of wanting to do that is versus just randomly throwing text on to your photo that doesn't really enhance it. If there's a message, I love quotes. I love to give a little bit more of what I'm thinking onto my images. And then on the flip side, you'll notice that Jeff's not a Fonto guy. He likes to let the images just be true and clear and really tell you the story or to guide you that way. And I like to give a little bit more of what I'm thinking. I had some interesting insight around that, and really it's like I found myself really like, I really want you to know what I mean. So I thought that was interesting insight just around the whole Fonto to not, or to Fonto or not to Fonto. So have fun in Fonto world if it moves you. Next question. I'm using an iPod and all of my images are grainy. Is that just a natural limitation of the iPod? Yes, and here's what you can do about that. And so this goes also for iPhone and using that rear-facing camera, the one that allows you that great opportunity to, here I am, that's what I want. I use this all the time, and it does give you a grainy image. If you could get in the habit of setting up the shot and then turning the camera around so you aren't using that, you will get a clearer image. If you use the tap focus, tap exposure that we talked about in the techie tip, you'll get a clearer image as well. I'm not sure if the iPod has that option. So what you can do, if you're still not getting the clarity, is you can reduce the noise afterwards. Jeff uses an app called Noise Master, and that allows you to reduce the noise, which means it allows you to clarify the graininess of that. I use Photoshop Express solely for its reduced noise feature. And there's also an exposure, or no, it's clarity. There's a clarity in the Photoshop Express, and if you just play with that, it softens and clarifies. It might give a little bit of a blur effect, so you might be moving from the graininess into a little bit more of a blur. However, it does give you another option and a whole nother look for your images, so they're not 100% just all grainy. And then the other thing to note about that is just the basic lighting and composition and mastery in your photography prior to the edit. If you notice, Jeff's images, they're pretty crystal clear. And that really comes from years of just knowing what to do from a photography point of view. I don't have that, so I rely heavily on the apps to help me with that. So he comes from setting up his images mostly prior to, and I come in the back door in knowing that I can fix them and make them look how I want to do afterwards. So we'll talk a little bit more about basic photography and how you can use lighting and composition to assist you in that, and then put it all together and add your own creative flair. And throughout the course, you'll notice perhaps this style begin to emerge for yourself. So all great questions. Thank you so much. And feel free to shout out any others throughout the week. And I hope that helps for now. Have fun out there. Stop! Stop! It's not stopping.